raise your hand and I'll talk a little louder. Okay. All right. I'm wearing my special shirt. It may not look special to you, but it's special to me. It says, "Don't waste the day." And when it's got paint on it because I'm an artist. You know, it's been through the ringer, but every time I need a little oomph, I wear my shirt. I've got another kind of shirt I like because my mama used to love button-up Oxford white shirts. And I had one and I wore it so long it just went dry rotted. I used it up. So I'm in search of another. Anybody got one? I take hand-me-down. A button-up Oxford white shirt. It makes me think of my mama whenever I wear that. Okay. Are you ready for this? I was born in Marks, Mississippi, January 13th, 1956. My grandfather was a judge, and my grandmother was a teacher, and it started a long line of teachers in our family. I was scared of my grandfather. I don't ever remember him talking to me. Of course, I was a little girl when he died, but I probably was 5 or 6 years old. The only memory I really have of him, they had this long hallway, and Granddaddy stood at the end of the hallway looking at me. He was probably trying to figure me out. And he seemed like he was 10 feet tall, and he was all dressed in white, and he had white hair, and I just stood there staring at him, and that's the only thing I remember of my granddaddy. But my grandmother, she, like I said, she was a school teacher, and at night, I guess she started my faith journey a little bit. At night, when we would go see her, she lived in Marks, Mississippi. We were in Hazelhurst, so a lot of times we stay about 2 weeks. And every night, she'd pull out the upper room. I was raised in a Methodist church. She'd pull out the upper room, and we'd have our devotional in her room. Oh, and I gotta say, the first thing I did when I got to her house, I knew where chocolates were. I would run to her drawer. Now, grandmother, we called her grandmother, not grandma or mama, it was grandmother. She was very genteel. She was sophisticated. And one time I remember, she made the best homemade rolls. But I remember, we had chocolate ice cream for dessert. And I started licking my bowl. And she said, "Imogene, what is Sherry doing?" I wanted every last drop of that chocolate ice cream. But anyway, my family lived in Hazelhurst. My mom and daddy were both teachers. And he later became a principal. But daddy gave all the siblings a nickname. My oldest sister he called Peanut. My younger sister he called Boo Boo. That was the special one. He liked her the best. She was, you remember, I know, so Yogi Bear? She was Yogi Bear's little buddy, Boo Boo. That was the most special name. And my brother was Skeeter. And believe it or not, he still gets called Skeeter now, except in his job, and it's Fred Jr. But anyway, I said, "Daddy, I want a nickname. I want to be Cinderella." He said, "It's Cuckoo or nothing." I said, "No!" So it stuck. He would call me Coo for short. It's like, so anyway, wait a minute. Daddy was a town photographer for the newspaper, for weddings, and also took the school's group picture. Hazelhurst was originally a little town. I mean, it was close to being as Mayberry as I've ever known. It's not that now, but man, there was a golden age. And the thing about it is, it was great because everybody knew each other and everybody took care of each other. Except as I grew up and I became more of a little rebel, then I couldn't. My mama found out about everything. And being a teacher's kid and later a PK, principal's kid, I couldn't get away with anything. Mama, besides being a teacher, was a youth director at the Hazelhurst United Methodist Church. And our house was, can y'all hear me okay? You can't hear me? I'm trying. Okay, I'll eat the mic. Okay, she was a youth director for the Hazelhurst United Methodist Church. and our house was always full of young people. Mama was the second mama to any young person she came in contact with. We learned early that we had to share her. From a very, I can hear me now. Cinderella, I love it. You can call me that anytime you want. From a very young age, I was in the choir and I led music. I gotta drop this down just a minute. In the youth group, and I did that from little bitty. Well, not that little, but anyway. Once a lady from the congregation came up to Mom and said, "Somebody needs to tell Sherry that the world is not all rosy-colored glasses." And Mama says she knows that. She just chooses to see that way. And I still try to do that. Y'all know my post. Anyway, let's see. Next page. I would have to say that my mama was the one who gave me my initial foundation in faith. She taught me about God loving me unconditional, but I struggled to believe that because I had low self-esteem. You know, it's not fair to God, but as children, we get our first impression about what our Heavenly Father is like by watching our earthly father. And sometimes that's not really good. My dad was an agnostic. My mama was a Christian, and my dad was an agnostic, which I looked that up. I kind of knew what it was, but it says that it's a person who believes that nothing is known or can be known of the existence or nature of God or anything beyond the material phenomenon. They are a person who claims neither faith nor disbelief in God. He could also be verbally abusive. Not physical, but he could say things that stung. Daddy was a scientist and a mathematician. I was an artist, a dreamer, impulsive, an abstract thinker, but I love science too. And that's where the one thing that Daddy and I could relate to. But other than that, we were kind of like oil and water. He used to tell me when I was a teenager, "Sherry, you have got to learn to face reality." I flat told him, "Dad, your reality and my reality is two different things." Mom, on the other hand, never gave up on me and supported my love for art, singing, and accepted my eclectic personality. Once she even bought me a bumper sticker that said, "Why be normal?" I wasn't the easiest person to love at times. The middle daughter that was sandwiched between two toe-the-line sisters. Made me a bit of a rebel. Funny thing is, I wanted people to like me, and it crushed me when I thought they didn't. But I also like to push the envelope, try things out, go on new adventures, and tempt fate. And it's really actually a miracle I'm standing here before you, because I could have died several times trying to beat curfew, you know. In high school, if I liked a subject, I excelled in it. If I didn't, I barely squeaked by. One teacher asked me, "Why are you not like your sisters?" Well, I put my hands on my hip and reared back and said, "Because I'm not my sisters." They didn't like that too much. But I did have a chemistry teacher that I really liked, but I didn't like that subject. So whenever he had a test, I would draw in the margins. And I would draw like Einstein scratching his head and saying, "I don't even understand this." So I had little drawings all around my test. He told me the next day, and I didn't answer a single question. He told me the next day, he said, "Sherry, I enjoyed grading your test. You got an F, but I enjoyed grading your test. And if I teach something that you can get in next year, I want you to sign up in my class." He liked me, I liked him, but I didn't like what I was studying. I think I've always had a sensitivity toward God and Jesus, but it took me a long time to come up to a place of surrendering my will to Him. Okay, here's my little visuals. Some people walk with God like this. You know those Domino pizza and the pizza people that twirl their sign all around? Woo, woo, woo. Walk this way to heaven. Well, Mine's more like this. I have taken many side roads. This mic keeps hitting me in the face. I have taken many side roads on my journey with God, and it's been quite colorful. Being a curious, creative, emotional, adventurous, naive, Pollyanna, bullheaded person, I wanted to see everything, do everything, learn everything, be everything, and believe me, that can have some major consequences. If you've ever seen Anne with an E, raise your hand. That's who I am like inside. I've been that since a little girl, and I still am. Love that. I think I've watched that series 3 or 4 times. I got myself into a lot of messes, but with my childlike spirit, I've also seen a lot of tangible miracles. I really, some of those I would love to share with you one day, because I mean, they blew me away. Some of them I've experienced. All through my quest to find myself and who God is in me, I experienced some amazing things. I began to see that in spite of every wall I hit, and I hit several, mistakes I made, wrong turns, 2 divorces, learning to be a good single parent, learning to lean on Jesus when I didn't know how I was going to provide for the 3 children, learning to go on after losing both parents, things began to grow clearer and clearer. I began to learn how to do what my mama continuously told me. Sherry, you just gotta let go and let God. You just gotta let go and let God. You just gotta let God. Mama, stop. If I knew how to do that, I would. But as I got older, I did learn how to do that. It took a while. I've settled down a lot in the last 5 years, and I'm actually glad you didn't know me when I was a teenager. But I'm more at peace about life. In these last few years, I've prayed that God would help me get from head knowledge of Him, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit into a more real relationship with them. He literally led me to check out the series of The Chosen. Has anybody seen that? Love that. It's written by the man that wrote the Left Behind series. Well, no, sorry, the son of the man that wrote the Left Behind series. And Jesus has never felt more real to me. I have begun to see His hand in everything in my life. I have begun to hear His voice more clearly. I now truly believe in His forgiveness, and I really struggled with that. But in the last few years, I really believe that He's forgiven me. And for some people, that's an easy thing. For me, with a low self-esteem, and it's like, I knew He loved my sister, the boo-boo. I knew He loved her. She was so good. She used to play the organ for the church, and I would just stare at her and thinking one day she's just going to disappear because she's just so good, you know. And Diane was okay too, but Janet was the one that was like a little angel. And I've lost my place. Hang on. Okay. And I finally believed in His unconditional love for me. His word is becoming so much more alive to me. And I just got to add this. I had prayed for God to help me fall in love with the word more, and to take more time for the word. And it seemed like everything, I am ADHD, and so I got ping pong thoughts. And so it's not that I didn't want to get there, it's just so many things occupied my time. But I was driving to take care of my grandkids one day, and I said, God, I really want to fall in love with your word. And the Sunday school class has already heard this. I really want to grow closer to you. Well, when I got to the kids' house, I had a text from Nancy, our Sunday school teacher. And she said, Sherry, I want you to call me when you get home. And I said, okay, but I'm with the kids. I can't talk right now. So I got home, and she said, well, Nancy had said, we've got to find other Sunday school teachers because of some issues she's having. And she said, your name came up when Becky was leaving. They were having that luncheon. And I said, it did? Are you sure? And we want you to consider being a Sunday school teacher. I said, you do? I felt like the most unqualified one in that room, and but I couldn't say no. I was scared to say no, because it was like God said, you asked for it, now here it is. It's like, okay. But so anyway, I have taught 2 Sunday school lessons, and I'm having the biggest time doing it. And I'll ask God, I said, okay, what's the theme this week, God? I mean, I have my Sunday school lesson book, and it has a theme, but I'm talking, I need visuals here. So I said, okay, what's the theme? And he'll give me one, and then I'll go with it. And that's happened both times, and actually he's given one for me this Sunday, but I can't find what I'm looking for. And but I will. But anyway, I'm sorry I deviated. Hang on. But I have to say that along with my mama being the biggest influence, and even my seeing The Chosen, this church family has also played a big part in my spiritual growth. I came to this church 3 choir directors ago. I don't know how many years that is, but it was 3 choir directors ago. I judge everything by things like that. That was my initial reason to come to choir. My friend Kit Albritton, any of y'all knew her? Right. She's now Kit Brand, and we still talk. She involved me in a couple of the choir activities when she was here. Later, when I was searching for a church home, I visited here, and Gail Hanna was sitting in front of me, and we struck up a conversation. She found out that I liked to sing, so she marched me right up to the choir director and told the choir director that Sherry wants to sing in the choir. And that's it. I went to choir practice the next Wednesday, and I'm still here. But I have to say that this is the first church since my childhood church in Hazelhurst that truly feels like a family to me, and I mean that with all sincerity. Your support, friendship, and prayers have meant so much to me, and I have grown in the Lord because of my connection with this church and you. And that's the end. And I guess